Political bribery is a lot more common than people are willing to admit.
If you guys remember, we had Hill Harper on here, who was offered $20 million to challenge Rashida Tlaib instead of run for the U.S. Senate.
Now they want to. Now they realize that Kari Lake, again, the only reason somebody's bribing her to get out of the race is because by statistical measure, by her doing well, that means Trump's probably going to win Arizona, and so they want to get him out of the. They want to get her out of the race
because she'll bring out Trump voters.
She is the biggest Trump cheerleader,
and she'll bring out, and her race she'll bring out Trump voters.
So this gets very interesting.
Is there a number at which
I can be bought?
Not be bought.
That's what it's about.
You can take a pause for a couple of years.
No.
And then go right back to what you're doing.
No. 10 million, 20 million, 30, no. $1 billion, no.
See, this makes me like
money.
her. Can we pause it for a second? First of all, she's obviously recording this, right? Like, so she's recording this knowing she's going to do this.
Yeah.
Okay. So right there, this says a lot of things about her.
You could also tell that she started recording this at a point where there was already an in-depth conversation, because you could tell that it begins at a point where she already knows what's going on. Like, she knows what this guy's been suggesting.
And
this is Arizona GOP chair, not anymore after today, Jeff DeWitt. Jeff DeWitt actually stepped down today.
So she kind of is in a position where she knows where this is going. She's going to use it to her advantage. She's going to set him up. Now, on the one hand, I appreciate the fact that she is so candid and just says, you want to know how much I can be bought for? I can't. And I appreciate that she says she can't be bought. Now, whether or not that's true, I don't know. I don't know enough about her. But the fact that she at least takes that position is impressive. However, the fact that she's recording the conversation is something to me that, like, as somebody in this field, I would never, ever work with her or engage with her or trust her or anything without like a room full of witnesses and a stenographer present.
Well, that's going to be the flip side of this now, because now, even though she's exposed,
can't be trusted.
No, how could she be?
I think it's disturbing that they would that anybody would think this is.
No, to be fair, even me, I'll say this. I want a fresh face right now, for the reason that I've never seen anyone, I can't think of a single person in a federal race who lost, ran in and won. I can't think of it. If you can think of it, let me know.
I'm not going to let these people who hate our country tell me not to run. You should call them and tell them to get behind me. So what's going on? What is, I'm assuming this is our friend.
This is back east.
Oh, people calling the shots from
very powerful.
So
now we're outside of Arizona.
Now we're talking DC.
Right? So now it's like, it's so mafia. It really does. It reminds me of like with like Bugsy out in Vegas and like, well, you know, the guys back home are, you know, calling the shots out here. It's just so ridiculous.
Metal, this has nothing to do with whether or not she recorded it. It's a question of now that she has, and again, it's not wrong that she did it, but just know that no one's going to trust her now.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I said these are the two things that I learned about her. I appreciate the integrity and that she basically just called it what it was and that she said no. But I also recognize that if I were in somebody that had to work with her, that I'm very suspicious.
Great.
People don't want to keep you out.
I know they do.
But they're willing to put their money where their mouth is in a big way. So, this conversation never happened.
This is crazy, though. They should want me. I'm a great candidate. People love me. These people are corrupt.
Well, maybe you're right.
They are right. They are corrupt.
Maybe. This never happened. Don't go. Do you ever though? I'll get myself in trouble. This.
Oh, you did.
Well, but he's in trouble. But the truth is, so is she. In terms of ever really being accepted into any party infrastructure. Like, again, I'm not saying that he's not a complete piece of shit, because he is. And she could have, like, there's a million ways she could have handled this, where he could have gotten called out without her making a public spectacle and without her trying to claim some sort of glory for herself, because she did this to make it look like she has so much integrity. So she's putting this out there. But in reality, if she really had a whole lot of integrity, she would have handled it differently, and he should still lose his position. I'm just saying.
If you say no, which is fine, it's your choice. Don't tell people.
They're gonna try to have me murdered.
I don't want that either. Today's world, man. If that stuff that came out last week is right about the cartel stuff, man. They say the cartel's operating in 50 states right now, like all 50. You know? So
what's going on? Who is it? What?
Forget the who. Let me just tell you the what. Let's just say there are people calling around saying, gosh, no, they can't repeat this. Never repeat this. If you say no, don't. Because I got offered to buy out. Don't use it. Because then we lose our ability to get things done.
Here's my problem. Rather than just say, let's work with her, she's a great candidate. Because they don't own me. And it pisses me off.
Yeah, it's not about ownership.
It's about control.
I don't know it's about control.
Yeah, she's got her phone on her.
It's about being on the team, I guess.
There it is. There it is.
Be on the team,
and you know what?
Kari.
We don't even need to play anything else. That's
No.
the end of the conversation.
And I honestly, like I said, I don't
It's
have
about
an opinion
being
about
on the team.
I don't know enough about her one way or the other than she's just a Trump supporter.
You know,
I
you
don't
have to
know.
wonder if there was a similar conversation that Bernie had to have with somebody like Obama, especially back in 2016. Bernie did a great job, but listen, Barack, I appreciate your concern.
So,
but, you got to play the team ball.
You know what I realized though? So now let's compare apples and apples. Okay. So here's one way to handle the situation, how Kari Lake just handled that. Remember, we had Hill Harper on the show. So he was offered $20 million by somebody that we don't really know. We don't know. He still hasn't shared exactly who the person was, but it's somebody affiliated with the Israel lobby. And he was offered $20 million to run against Rashida Tlaib. Now, instead of going forward with that information and humiliating whoever it was who did that, he actually didn't go public with it at all. But he did tell Rashida Tlaib and her people who did it and what they did. See, that's how you do it. You give it to there's a way to handle something, and then there's a way not to handle something. There's a way to handle something where you actually come out looking amazing, like Hill Harper, who comes off looking like he has amazing integrity because he does. And the information still got out how it needed to get out, except for he doesn't look like a self-serving piece of shit. And she kind of does.
Now, one of the things that I will say, and I will get to it, Danny. I will get to it. Here's the thing, and this is one thing I will say in Kari's defense, which I do think is a big deal. Do I think it's very possible that there is a true movement within MAGA that really wants an America First agenda that does not involve bringing in people from other countries to work for pennies on the dollar to screw working people? Yes, I do believe that that is real. Now, one of the reasons why this is a big problem in a state like Arizona is Arizona's a border state. And we all know that when it comes to the border states, there is, again, if you haven't seen the movie Sicario, for example, with Benicio del Toro, that's a great movie. That'll, just gives you a good example. A movie that came out in 2000, which I loved very much, was Traffic. If you haven't seen that movie.
I didn't hear him mention a car bomb. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
He's talking about being bombed by the cartels. Do I think that it's very possible that they could attempt to sick a cartel after Kari Lake as a misdirect because they could say that, oh, well, we didn't have anything to do with it. It was the cartels that came after her. Sure, that's possible.
Otherwise, why would he have brought it up?
Absolutely. That's the whole point. The reason he's bringing that up to her, quite frankly, is to threaten her.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a threat.
Conversation was total. The whole thing was a threat, but she knew it. To me, she didn't. That's just not how I would have handled the situation.
Well, how would you have handled it?
Well, I wouldn't go public with that. I would handle it privately and make sure that people that needed to know that happened.
So
I would potentially, depending on, the ins and outs and who's involved, release it to the right people. But I wouldn't just publicly play that.
Okay,
like
well,
that.
what
Like,
about potentially? What about potentially after it's all said and done, you have a recording, you keep it, you put it in a very safe place, and you basically tell them, I have you on audio telling me that basically I'm going to get myself killed if I don't step away because this state is too important to the establishment, and that you basically think that I'm some type of a maverick, if you will, like good old John McCain.
When you do things where you're getting threats, you need to have some sort of kill switch. And so
she gave that up.
Well, she gave that up and she showed her hand, and it's more, what she really showed is that she is very much like Trump, and that it was all about her right now. It was about her showing him up right now. There was no strategy, no thought involved. It was just very, what did she say?
Travers, you really are the funniest on the
I do
show.
love
You
Ferrero
really
Rocher.
do.
Actually, and hazelnut is a personal favorite of
It's
mine. I've been
delicious.
like snacking on Nutella lately.
The one thing you are correct about, Metal, is simply this. This is something that isn't as effective on the Republican side as it is on the Democratic side. You see, on the Democratic side, everybody just seems to get in line. So when the call went out that, okay, we're getting behind Joe and you're going to get behind Joe, and that's that. Now, do I think that they necessarily have the same type of conversation where they tell you that you either get behind Joe or you're going to end up in a hole somewhere? Probably not. But do I think that they threaten them in a way that gets the message, gets the point across? Yeah, probably.
Metal, there's just different ways of handling things. Do I think that she could have exposed that she's been approached? Yeah. And do I think she needed to necessarily publicly name names until stuff was dealt with first? Not necessarily.
Which doesn't actually show that she's as shrewd as she thinks she is.
Well, that's what we're saying. It's like she really showed her hand.
Yeah.
She really played her hand too fast with that.
Yeah, you need to hold on to that.
There's a lot of things. Like I
if
just wouldn't have done it like that.
Like that audio would have had so much more value in October.
Metal, we know this, that we already know that we don't get to pick candidates.
Versus October. You do that in October. You don't do that in January. People are going to not necessarily forget about it, but it's not going to have the same punch. If you brought that up a week before the election, that could push her over the edge, especially if it's a tight race.
But see, here's the thing. Unless she's strategically using it to just get on higher up on the short pick for VP to impress Trump.
That, you see, now that's, again, here's the lawyer here. It's actually a very astute observation, because if they are trying to figure out a way to get her out, but Trump is actually very interested in having her as his VP, which I've always felt was very possible, because she really is somebody who would be a safeguard. She's not the type of person like a Nikki Haley where Trump literally would have to be looking over his shoulder 24/7.
No, Kari Lake is sycophantic enough
so much like that. And she's got so much more personality than somebody like Christine Noem would ever have. So I could definitely,
so maybe that's her strategy is, if I do this now and I can show off that they're after me, I'll get attention. It'll bring attention to me. Trump will he'll realize that they're going after me because I'm one to hit. Like, I don't know. So when he says it's about being on the team, he's right. And she's showing she's on Trump's team while he's out there right now, ready to at some point announce a VP selection. Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.